Hi everybody, my name is Jin Moon and welcome to iHome Church. This morning is our 40th week here at iHome Church, so we're terribly excited to share this beautiful Sunday morning with you. I am terribly inspired because I want to share a dream that I had a couple of days ago. You know, my husband and I, we were talking about some of the things that our true Father shared with us during our lifetime. And one of the most beautiful quotes that Father shared with us is how the Messiah comes to hold the heaven's gate and wait for the last child to pass through before he closes the door. So we were talking about how incredibly beautiful this image was. And you know, in the course of my own life, having been a church leader and dealing with a lot of things as a member of the true family, or like the first family of our unification community, you know, I've experienced many different types of people and many different situations. And so when I think about what Father said about really the Messiah being the last one in, waiting for all of humanity to pass by, that has been an incredibly inspiring image for me. But I had this dream, and you know, in all honesty, there are a couple people that I really have to work on in terms of my relationship with them, in that I have to really make an effort to try to love this person, to love your enemy, so to speak. And, you know, I often pray about how I can be a much loving person and a more mature person and a deeper person to kind of overcome my own difficulties in dealing with somebody who is incredibly difficult. And I think God gave me this dream because he wanted to kind of show me something incredibly beautiful. And in this dream, here was Father standing by the heaven's gate. And his spirit body was just luminescent, just incredible. It was almost as if like all these bright sparkles were coming out of him, and incredibly bright. And he had this humongous smile on his face. And he asked me, he said, "Injin, hold my hand and let's welcome the children of God." And so he held my hand. And as we stood there, all the people, amazingly, that I have had great difficulty with, all the people that I've really tried to make an effort to love and found it incredibly difficult, these were the people that started walking towards the heaven's gate and walking towards Father and me. And Father was just tapping them on the shoulders and ushering them in. And these people that I really couldn't see in the best of ways, they were shining. And they were just so inspired and empowered to be in the presence of our true Father, ushering them in through the heaven's gate. And I never thought that these people could look so beautiful. And then I woke up and I realized that what Heavenly Parent or God is trying to convey to me is, look, the world is a difficult place because all of the God's children, sons and daughters, have to learn how to get along, how to come together as one family under God. But I think the message that God was trying to tell me is that we shall overcome. We shall overcome our own difficulties because the way God sees each child of God, or each son and a daughter, is in the divine light, the original divine light that every human being has, because God created each and every one of us. So this was God's way of really sharing the message that our true parents bring so poignantly. And I want to share my father's, a section of my father speech that he shared with brothers and sisters many years ago. This speech in particular was given on January 16th, 1971. And Father asks to the audience, what makes God true? God likes both good and the bad people on earth. In other words, there's hope for you and me. To be a true person, you must be true in all your dimensions. If you members love the people who love me and hate the people who hate me, are you good members or bad members? And I'm sure my father must have gotten a lot of feedback or responses in the audience. But Father said, if you only love who loves me and hates who hates me, you are bad members. But hold on, there's hope. He says, therefore, I am teaching you to love those who hate you. If you love them, sooner or later, they will come to you. If you return good 3 times for every time someone does you wrong, eventually that person will bow his head, because everyone has a conscience. So this is an incredibly powerful message that God has shared through the person of my father, Reverend Sun Myung Moon. Because Father is basically saying, God is true, not because he only loves the elect or a select few, as maybe some of us might have understood in the context of Christianity. But Father is saying God loves the good and the bad, as in the Clint Eastwood movie, The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. God loves us all. Because everybody has a conscience. Everybody was created from the hands of God. Each of us is a divine being. We have that original inner voice that speaks to us all the time, whether we are doing well or not doing so well. But in the eyes of God, just as in my dream, everybody is luminous. Everyone is shining. Everyone is beautiful. Everyone is bright. And so when I look at some of the things that are going on in our world today, we have a crisis with ISIS, we have the instability with the Russians and the Crimea. There's so much hatred on both sides and difficulty. And so sometimes, some of the my dinner guests come over and they're like, well, what are we supposed to do? We should just get rid of everybody. We should just nuke them all. Or we should just, siphon them off into a corner and, get them out of our sight. Many times there's a desire to just rid the evil, rid the bad, as if that is going to create a wonderful world. But the message that the Messiah brings, which is incredibly important, I believe, in difficult times throughout history, is that no change can come about without changing the hearts of men. So Messiah does not come to create a revolution that topples governments or institutions or destroys the society at large. What the Messiah comes to do is to ignite the revolution of hearts. He comes to change the hearts of men. Because you can get rid of governments, you can get rid of institutions, but if you do not change, if we do not change the hearts of men, guess what? The new leader, new government, doesn't necessarily mean they're going to do any better. Because the old, what I call creepy crawlers of greed, power, and hatred starts to seep in. And how do we deal with these things if we don't understand that we are all children of God? So again, I feel that this is the time when we must be absolutely clear in what and who our roots are. We have to be rooted in terms of our relationship with God. We have to be rooted in terms of our relationship with our true parents. And, the English language is fabulous because, sometimes they talk about, sometimes our children, the younger generation, they just want to uproot from all the traditions or different ways of doing things and do their own thing. But when you uproot, it sounds very wonderful. You're moving up. But what you're actually doing is pulling out the very root that keeps us grounded as this incredible tree. Because the root points down. It reminds us to point down and be humble and be mindful of where our feet rest. Our feet rests upon the shoulders of many men and women and our ancestors and our father and mothers before us. So we must not be the one uprooting, thinking that we know better or we're going to do something extraordinary, and we will. But we will be extraordinary when we ground ourselves in the most important things in life. And so, I find it incredibly exciting that, with this passage, this quote that Father has shared with us, what makes God true? Well, God has a parental heart. That's why he likes the good, he likes the bad, he likes all of his children. And so instead of seeing the bad people of the world, or instead of seeing people as somebody who has fallen short, God sees the misguided as somebody who can be guided. He sees the misdirected as somebody who can be directed. He sees the misled as somebody who can be led. God is basically saying these people are misdirected, misled, misguided because they are missing the most important ingredient, which is the root. The root is God and true parents. And once you have that, the misguided person turns into a guided person. Misdirected person turns into a directed person. Misled person turns into a led person. And so many of us, when we look at the world and we say to ourselves, well, that person is really good. Well, that person is bad. No hope for that person. Well, Father doesn't look at people that way. As a true parent of all mankind with a parental heart, I want to share with you this one example of how Father really conveys the parental heart in the way that God has done throughout our lives. And I remember there was this one situation in my earlier days. I was quite young, still in my teenage years, and there was a lot of talk about this one leader who stole a lot of money from the church and ran off and did his own thing. And everybody was talking about how, that's just awful, it's unforgivable, and he should never come in the presence of Father. But, this person, having done whatever he wanted to do, but realizing that he was missing his relationship with the root, God and true parents, he decided to pay a visit to my father at East Garden. And on the first floor of the old house, there's a huge pool room table. And my father would spend many hours there, and he often talks about how just playing a simple game of pool helps him focus and think about worldly matters in the privacy of just a quiet, nice game of pool. So we heard that this leader was coming to East Garden and was going to visit Father and Mother. So all the leaders were gathered there in the other room. They were saying, oh my goodness, Father should just chop him off at the knees, cut off his head, make him pay. And this one leader said, thrashing, I want thrashing. And there was this almost like this gladiator stadium-like feeling. Like here is a brother who is misguided, misdirected, and misled. But he is coming back to true parents, and everybody was waiting to see what true Father was going to do. And the leaders were in one room, we need to do this, we need to do that. And, I being a teenager, I was like, oh my God, me and my siblings, we were like, what is Father going to do to him? Come on, let's go and watch. So me and my younger brother, we just wanted to experience what was going to happen to this leader. So we were kind of standing by the door that connects the pool room to the porch. And because we wanted to see firsthand. And then, surely and enough, this leader came to East Garden, and then the leaders were like, oh, you could hear this incredible rumbling, like the beginnings of thunder, and outraged leaders. How could he do this to Father? And this leader just slowly walked, greeted different people quietly, and slowly walked to the entrance of the pool room. And when he stood there, then Father just looked up, and Father went back to his game. And so he just kind of stood there, you know, with his hands together and just kind of bowing his head. And I think it must have been about 5-10 minutes of excruciating pain, because we wanted action. We wanted Father to bestow, you know, fire and brimstone. We wanted to see what was going to happen. You cannot let down a stadium full of, you know, people wanting to see the gladiators in action. And so everybody was, you know, literally in pain, because we wanted to see what would happen. And then Father slowly raised up his face and looked at the guy and called him by his name. And Father said, "Get that pool stick and let's play." And so this brother was so shocked, but he slowly went over, grabbed the pool stick, and then started playing with Father. And Father carried on as if nothing happened, as if this guy, you know, did nothing in terms of running away with money, you know, misusing money and doing all sorts of things. But Father was steady. Father was incredibly serious, but he was like a rock. He just stood there, and all he asked this brother to do was grab a stick, let's play a game of pool. And then after that, we went to have lunch, and Father never railed into him in front of all the others. He just treated him as one of his flock. And I am sure it was a huge letdown to a lot of people who wanted to see blood, who could literally taste blood in their mouth. But blood is not what Father gave to all of us. What Father conveyed to all of us in that example is that of a parental heart. And so after everybody kind of disappeared, went back to their homes, you know, I grabbed my father's shirt. I said, you know, Appa, why did you not scold him? And then, you know, Father said, you have to understand, he is a child of God. And maybe he has done some things wrong, but he never broke his relationship with God and true parents. He never uprooted himself. He, you know, being swayed by the wind, you know, as this tree left and right and, you know, whatever. But he wanted to come back. And even if that tree had a couple splinters or a couple broken off branches, the tree wanted to come back to the root and say, "Root, I am here. I am yours. Work with me." So Father said, how can I not love this child of God? I am not here to give him the end of times. I am here to help him be the best that he can. And so to a young child, this was an incredible lesson on the beauty of a parental heart. And I realized that what Father said was, look, you have to understand that he is child of God. And he went on to, sometimes over the years, I would kind of go back to that and I would redirect questions on, you know, why did you do this or why did you do that? And over again, he always came back to the answer, every child is a child of God. And everybody has a spirit body. He said, you don't realize that many times what we perceive as bad people are people who were born or who grew up in less than ideal situations, very difficult family situations, very difficult childhood. And therefore, they didn't have the right kind of give and take of love that is required for the spiritual body to grow and mature into this incredible, brilliant light. So when God sees his child, You can be fully grown. You could be 60, you could be 50, you could be 40 years old. But your spirit body could be an infant, maybe 18 months old, because you never got that proper nutrition. A baby cannot grow without milk, without the warmth of a mother, without the encouragement of a parent. Likewise, if the spirit body never had that in life, a grown man could actually be in spirit body like a 2-year-old child who hasn't really come to terms with understanding who he is or what life is all about. So Father is saying what a lot of the Gestalt theorists have said. They say that it's never too late to recreate your childhood. In other words, many times as adults, we have the problems that are flowering because a lot of the issues that we're dealing with was never addressed when we were children. But instead of being bound by chains to these problems, what Gestalt theorists are saying is it's never too late to recreate our childhood. In a way, allow our spirit body to grow through the give and take action of true love. And that's why it's an incredible hope for the world that our true parents are here. True parents, they are the parents of humankind. Because many times this world, we have grown adults, but spirit bodies are like hopeless and helpless and struggling children, hoping to experience that divine love, that incredible thing called true love. That's why God sent his representative true parents. And just as all the things in creation reflect the attributes of God of both male and female, in the body of true parents, we have father and mother. That's the incredible thing about it. Because, when you look at the history of world religions, or Christianity in particular, there is this incredible emphasis on the relationship between father and son. And that emphasis was incredibly important because God had to create somebody and prepare somebody who could really be the Messiah to the world and really claim this one person as my champion. And so the history of Christianity is really an example of the history of restoration. But the world didn't understand it, that it's a history of restoration in the context of providential history. So everything about Christ we used as a model for our life of faith. Christ never was married. He was always single. So lots of good brothers and good sisters spent their lives and gave their lives to monasteries, to nunnery, and to priesthood, thinking that that was an ideal manifestation of how a faithful son and a daughter should be. But the great thing about true parents is here we have not just the victorious Adam, but now we have the victorious Eve. We have a parent, and they become a true reflection of the beauty of God, both the male and the female attributes. So the history of restoration many times needed to move forward with the mother and son unity, because it was actually, the Eve who perpetuated the fall of Adam. So now in this through the history of restoration, Eve had to play a central role in creating that unity with the Son to move providence forward. But now we also need the complete picture. So not only do we need the unity of father and of mother and son, but we also need to experience the unity of father and daughter. And therefore, instead of, our world, a religious life being lopsided, we get the full picture, or the picture of a family. The picture of a family created by this first man and woman called the true parents that can stand in that parental figure that can really help the misguided, misdirected, misled children of the world many times because they were not given to ideal circumstances, and many times their stunted growth of their spiritual body is what is causing them incredible suffering, incredible feelings of emptiness and being lost. So true parents come to be the nourishment to these children. and really kind of help them grow, not just physically, but also spiritually, so we can become this incredible men and women of God. So what should we be doing at this time as true disciples of God and true parents? Well, the incredible thing of the first generation of our movements is you guys have already done what the disciples of Jesus could not do. None of the disciples of Jesus were there at the time of Jesus' crucifixion. And Jesus Christ had to die a lonely death. But you guys, the first generation, the people who have worked and breathed and sang and danced with true parents, you never left true parents. You were there every step of the way. And now for the first time in history, we have the unity of heaven and earth. Our Father's up in spirit world. Our Mother is here. And what are we to do as true disciples? We need to continue doing what the disciples of Jesus could not do. You, brothers and sisters, are on a winning streak. You are on your way to becoming that glorious son and a daughter of God. So do not abandon your roots. Do not abandon true parents. Do not succumb to the temptations that came to the disciples of Jesus Christ. And therefore the world had to wait 2,000 years before our true father, Reverend Moon, could come again. But now we have Reverend Moon, Mrs. Moon, we have father and mother. So as true disciples, as true children, we must never break our bonds with our root. We must hold on to our roots with dear life. And what's the second thing we must do? We must overcome ourselves. Meaning that many times we, dealing with different difficulties in our life, kind of resort to hatred, anger, and desire for power. You know, as if just exercise your muscles and you can make the world a better place. But we have learned throughout history that does not work. It's been there, done that. We've been through that before. So we have to overcome ourselves and really kind of nurture our spiritual self by holding fast onto our true parents, living a life of true love, of give and taking of love, so we can allow our spirit bodies to grow. And instead of hate, greed, and power, we can live a life of love, caring, and healing. Because that is what the world needs. It needs a lot of healing. And so God sends us true parents. Father has brought the word. His last name Moon means the word. In True Mother, God has given us a woman that is going to do the work of kingdom building, of 한나라 Han, one nation Han, one family Han. And we as the true disciples, we as the children, need to be right there, together with our true parents, in this work of moving providence forward. So we must hold on to our roots. We must overcome ourselves, meaning we have to utilize our 5% responsibility and be good adults, be young adults, not just children anymore. And then number 3, we have to do what most men and women throughout history could not do, and what really differentiates my father and my mother from many, many great men and women. My father constantly emphasized to the children and to the membership, we have to love even what is not lovable. We have to be willing to love, and through love overcome all the difficulties, all the trials and tribulations, all the hatred, greed, and power-mongering, money-mongering. We have to overcome them all by willing to love what is not lovable. Because when you look at God, God is true because he loves all his children, the good and the bad. It is the Messiah waiting at the heaven's gate, not just say, select, line up here, elect, line up here, but Messiah is the one saying, let me help you become that beautiful light, beautiful spirit body. So the Messiah comes to do this new thing, ignite a revolution of heart. So instead of pointing fingers, embrace. Instead of wearing anger, smile. Instead of spewing bullets like a machine gun uplift and raise up your brothers and sisters, your parents, your children, all of God's sons and daughters. And if we do that and really unite with our true parents by holding fast onto our roots and really overcoming ourselves and loving what is not lovable, then we will come to reveal a beautiful spirit body that is not agitated, that is not angry, that is not at peace, but a beautiful spirit body that is incredibly powerful, incredibly luminous, incredibly majestic. And that, sons and daughters of God, is how God and our true parents see all of us. So how can we not be grateful? So brothers and sisters, let us love what is not lovable, and with a parental heart, move the providence forward with God and true parents. So take care and God bless.
We shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we shall overcome someday. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand. We'll walk hand in hand someday. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we'll walk hand in hand someday. We are not afraid. We are not afraid. We are not afraid today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe we are not afraid today. The Lord will see us through. The Lord will see us through. The Lord will see us through today. Oh, deep in my heart, I do believe the Lord will see us through today. And we shall overcome. We shall overcome. We shall overcome someday. Oh, deep in my heart, We shall overcome someday.
For those of you who have questions and comments, please leave them below the video or go to jinmoon.com and use the contact form. And don't forget to subscribe to our email list. And for those of you who would like to contribute to our work here at Our Home Church, just click on the donate button. Thank you and God bless.